Yeah, we are on YouTube, but then we'll have to wait for a few more minutes before we come on Facebook.
I think I look a little bit like Victor.
In what sense?
I say I think this the lighting here is there's a stark difference between yours and mine.
Yes, because you
Yeah,
look so dark.
because yeah, I went to YouTube to look how what I look like.
It's not pretty.
Yeah, and I'm like so I resemble Victor now because I'm as dark as he is.
Yes, I don't know where you are, but there is a stark lack of light there.
Yeah, there's lack of light here, definitely. There's
It's
lack
like
of light.
it's like you are based in Nigeria, basically.
Yeah.
It is the people that we host from Nigeria that normally look like this.
Look like this, yeah. I think it has to do with the lightning here. It's a little bit poor, yeah, as compared to that the one that you have.
The funny thing about Nigeria is that they will say there is no light, then everything is off. Even when there is light, you never find any place where there is enough light. Like here now. It's always
Yes.
like you. It's always like you are now. They will put
Yeah.
on all the light. They will tell you they have put on all the light, and then it will still be like you.
Yeah, I think it's because of the kind of light also. Yeah, because if it's like a general like white bulb, there's a level of illumination it comes that it brings, and then the kind of light that we also use there that is focused, so it helps to further illuminate the
Because they are always using small bulb or small
yeah
fluorescent.
yeah those small bulbs, yeah,
And
those
those
small
ones are
bulbs.
very rare here. They are not, even if they are here, they will be two or three or four or five together. Never alone. But in Nigeria, they're always alone like that.
And interestingly, that's the kind of light I have here. It's just one.
That is,
So
I told you now, that's like Nigeria. Nigeria electricity syndrome.
that's the exact kind of light I'm using right now.
You don't have the standing extra light.
No, I don't have it. I don't
Okay,
have it.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, let me see who to welcome on YouTube. Only Chioma, Felix, Joy. Joy is the one that is with us on YouTube, but on Facebook we have Innocent Bagaji is here, Joe Fierce, Shinwe is here, Corey is here, Madabuko is here, Bumi is here, Toyi, Wale Banjoko is here, Shola is here, Ifi is here, Gift. Welcome everyone. Please go call on your friends and families. Go call on the people that you really wish to join us. We have Ude Ifegu is also here with us on YouTube. Then we have Ben on Facebook. We have Sally on Facebook. Welcome everybody. Today, I'm here today with Dr. Anu Ojo. Anu Ojo has done a review with me before on trials, tragedy, and adversities. So we are back with you, Dr. Anu.
Hello, sir. Good evening, Pastor.
Yes, there is a big series. I actually united all of them. There was a series that was separate that was called Problems, but now I've
Yes.
united it together with the problems, crisis, adversities, and all that. Crisis, trials, and all those things. So, but
Yeah.
that is a very tough topic for Nigerians. Nigerians have been raised up by religion to think that the kind of religion we practice in Nigeria is such that if you are with God, you will never have problems.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if you are having problems, it means that God is not with you, or you are sinning, or you are doing something bad, or God is against you.
Exactly.
So what was your experience going through this series? Because I knew that you were going through it live when I was doing it, and I'm sure you listened to it over and over again. Besides that time, or at least So what is it that you will like our listeners, your own experience from this series?
All right. Thank you so much, Pastor. First, I would like to apologize to our viewers about my lightning that is not so good. So I hope my voice would do justice beyond my face. So I'm really so sorry, guys. Hopefully next time it's going to be better. And Pastor, before I give a response to your question, while I was reflecting today, I made a choice that I was going to do this before I begin any form of discussion. Today happens to be my mom's birthday.
Okay.
And yes, and I want to use the opportunity to celebrate her, to wish her the very best, and to celebrate Dad also. And I'm saying this because it happens to be challenging and or difficult months in my family. Reason being that it was in the month of April that we lost two strong boys. I mean, I lost two of my brothers in the month of April. So
it's very, very, very sad.
Yes. So within the space of 15 years, actually, within the space of 15 years, I lost my elder brother, and I also lost my younger brother. So April, over the years, had been a very challenging. I mean, this was the month that we had a lot of crises, problems, challenges, troubles. So, I mean, reviewing this series with you is quite phenomenal. I mean, for me, it's I'm happy I'm reviewing it with you because this series literally gave me a lift. This series literally gave answers to many questions that boggled my mind. Many questions I had, and I was asking God, questioning Him about the crises, about the troubles, the challenges. And like you said, being raised in religious settings, we were taught that as a child of God, you are immune to this kind of challenges. In such a way that,
especially when you come from a Christian home.
Especially when you come from a Christian home, such a way that the kind of gospel that we received was that when you give your life to Jesus, when you become a Christian, God somehow delivers you, and he protects you from any kind of crisis, any kind of problem, any kind of challenge. And it gets to that point where the moment you begin to experience any problem or any challenge or any crisis, the first thing you're beginning to think is that, wait, is it that I have sinned against God? What have I done? Because the deal that I signed when I gave my life to Jesus Christ in the church that I did was that you are going to protect me from problems, from crises, from troubles. And then the moment I begin to experience some crises, some challenges, some troubles, the first thing, in a religious mind is that, okay, wait, there's something that is happening. I must have done something wrong. I think I have sinned and God is punishing me because this was not what we agreed on. So
agreed with who?
based on what they sold to us, that was based on what they taught us. I mean, this was what we learned, that as a child of God, it's always a good life. I mean, it's upward and forward. There are no down times. I mean, as a child of God, you keep flying high. There is no challenging time. So with this kind of understanding or mindset, with the appearance of problems and crises, it places a religious mind in a state of, which word can I use to represent it? In a devastated state. So you become devastated at every appearance of crisis and troubles, because this was not what you expected. But I want to just take out this time, Pastor. I don't know how often I say this to you, and I don't know how often you get to hear it. But from a grateful heart, Pastor, and from a heart that understands something, I want to specially thank you for your decision to give answers to the questions that millions of people have. Questions that has led some people to even deny their faith. Questions that has made many people lose hope in God and in life. One of those questions has to do with, why am I going through this challenge? Why did this bad thing happen to me? Why did this crisis befall my family? Take, for example, my own family. I mean, it's tragic to lose a son, but it's even more tragic to lose 2 kids.
Out of 3 sons, 2.
Out of 3 sons at that time. So, I mean, that kind of experience it's enough to drive the parents nuts, and they're going to have many questions in their hearts. That, God, why me? Why did this happen to me? Okay, it happened to my first child, or to my first brother. Why the second one? And there are many questions. But I'm really grateful to you, Pastor, that you have made a decision. I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to. There's no obligation on your part to share this knowledge, this understanding, this revelation that you have done with all of your resources. I mean, the resources and the teachings that you've produced, the books you have written, has given answers to millions of people who were in a state of devastation. Take, for example, after the loss of my brothers. And I'm thankful because this series brought understanding to me. It brought a new perspective to me about crisis, about problems, about challenges, about troubles. And it made me understand God more. And I always say this to you, Pastor, that there are 3 things that you and your teachings have done for me. The first thing, that listening to you, and that's the reason why I listen to you, it is because, number 1, your teachings have helped me understand God more and has made me fall in love with God more. That is one thing that this series did to me. It made me understand God more. It made me fall in love with God even more. Though I went through, and my family went through crises and challenges and problems, I loved God more because I understood Him more. The second thing that your teachings and your resources have done to me is that it has helped me in understanding the dynamics of life, the essence of life. Through these teachings, I understood that life cannot be without problems. That it is only an illusion to believe that you can go through life without having adversity, without crisis, without problems, without troubles. So this your teaching and many of your teachings has helped me understand life. Now I understand life. And I know how to maximize life. And that's one of the things that your teachings have done to me. Thirdly, is that your teachings and your resources has helped me in understanding myself. More like I got a reintroduction to me. I've been able to dig deep into my core, into my essence. And I've been able to express myself even much more because of the resources that you have released. And that's the reason why I'm saying thank you. I mean, we might not appreciate you enough. We might not thank you enough, but there are many people who don't even have up to the knowledge that you have, but they hoard this information. Many of them are puffed up because of knowledge, because the Bible says knowledge puffs. Many of them are puffed up with the knowledge. Many of them, I mean, they sell this knowledge. They teach it, and an ordinary person cannot get access to this knowledge. But not to speak so much, but your resources are free online. Your resources are there on YouTube that anybody, rich, poor, young, old, Christians, Muslims, atheists, it does not matter who you are, you can get access to these teachings. And these teachings can give you the answer that you've been looking for. God, through these teachings, can give you the comfort you've been seeking. God, through these teachings, can give you the answers to the questions that you've had in your mind for years. Thank you, Pastor, for deciding to share this knowledge, this revelation, this understanding to the world, of which I am a benefactor. And you're a man of many flaws, just as many of us have flaws. But it is my prayer that the good Lord would uphold you. And just as the writer of Jude said, that unto God who is able to keep us standing, to keep us from falling, and He is the one that will present us blameless before God. It is my prayer to you, Pastor, that God will uphold you, God would strengthen you, and God will keep you standing. He will keep you from falling in such a way that at the end, when it's time for us to meet our Father, He would welcome you and He would tell you, welcome, my good and faithful servant, for you have done everything I've sent you to do on earth. So, Pastor, I, Anujo, I'm saying thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Today is emotional for you, eh?
Yeah, thank you. It is. Because, you asked me about how I felt listening to this message. This is what it led to. This exactly is what it led to. It led to an understanding that I've shared with you. And everything I've said in appreciating you talks about what I have in my heart concerning you and concerning what you have produced in your teachings, in your books, and in everything that you've been able to release into the world. And God bless you so much more, Pastor.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Now, people who are listening to you will be thinking, so what is it that you learned about trials that comforted you or set you free from the kind of devastation that you have started to talk about?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing was that from this series, coming from a religious mind, it helped me in destroying many lies that I believed.
You will give us a list of those lies.
Yes, I'll share it. of which I've said a couple of it.
Okay.
For example, let me start with one, which I said earlier. It is that as a child of God, as a Christian, you are not to go through any challenges, or that God, just like give your life to Jesus and watch God build a wall around you, build a wall of fire around you, and protect you from any kind of challenge, adversity, problem, and every of those sorts. That was one of the, that is, anyone who has been raised in Nigeria as a religious person, there is no how you're not going to bear witness to what I'm saying, that this is what we learn. It's as though giving your life to Jesus Christ is an insurance from crisis. And that is one of the lies or deceptions that this series shattered and destroyed. That nope, you are sure going to have challenges. And even God himself would allow challenges, crises to come to you. It will not stop it. Because many times we ask and we're like, but God, God, you are all knowing. And if you are all knowing, why did you allow this to happen? And many times, people try to give excuses for God. That, no, God is all knowing, but we don't really know. We cannot really figure out what God is doing. But, so they are even scared to even say that God allowed it. Yeah, they are even scared to even say that God knows about it, that God allowed it. But with this series, I can boldly declare to anyone who is going through certain challenges based on an understanding that, hey, what you're going through, that crisis, that challenge, God allowed it.
Yeah.
God allowed it. And it's even possible that God caused that thing to happen.
Of course.
It's possible that God orchestrated that crisis.
Yep.
But that sounds blasphemous to a religious man. It sounds blasphemous to a religious man because from a religious point of view, it's difficult for a religious man to say that God caused crisis or that God allowed that problem to happen. But from this series, I understood the loving kindness of God.
So someone will say, what on earth could cause God to allow such a horrible thing as allowing two sons of the same father and mother to die?
To die.
Out of three sons.
That is the question. That is the big question, Pastor. That pushed me into solitude when it happened. It was May. It was 3 days ago. It was on the 24th of April that in 2016 that I lost my younger brother. So it was like 3 days ago, last 2 years. So it was around this time, around this time was when it happened and I got to know. And it pushed me to solitude and it made me sit back and I started asking God that why two? And even the scenario, what led to the death, it doesn't even make sense from a human perspective. It doesn't connect. Like, why would it happen like this? So that is exactly the kind of questions that people ask. Then why? I mean, why would
Because
it be that
people-
God caused this?
Because people who are listening to us are asking exactly that question, but you come around and you are saying thank you for your series. So
Yes.
they are having an impression that, okay, you probably got some comfort or some answers, or what is it that is making you now to reconcile with that and to be able to even say thank you?
Yeah, and I can share it definitely. I can share some things on a personal level. I can share some personal things with us. I think one of the things that I discovered is that, Pastor, you taught something, and one of the things that people will also learn in this series is that crisis comes and challenges comes to help us shift our focus from mundane things and things that really don't matter, and for us to focus on God and to make God our everything.
To rediscover God.
To rediscover God. To make us, to make every other thing that is taking the position of God get out of the way, so that we can have God back to the center.
Strong point. Yeah.
And that's exactly how it is in my family. After the loss of two of my siblings, my parents just came to a point in their life and they're like, hey, God, the people that are left now is not in our hand. It is in your hand. You know how as a parent, you're so careful about, hey, my son, my this thing, my child, my this thing, and then you make your children like, hey, this is my kid, my son, my daughter, my this thing. And you want to take the position of God. But then, I remember my dad and my mom, they've said this a couple of times to me that, see, we have handed you guys are left, our hand is not even, you guys are now in the hands of God. That's so powerful. That is so powerful when you remove every other thing. You dethrone, because that thing is you making the children your gods already. You're making them, you're already building an idol out of them. You're already building a graven image out of them. And God will not allow you to do that. God will not allow you to do that. So what will God do? God will bring things that will make you focus on Him.
And surrender what you have.
And surrender. That God, I know is your son. I cannot protect him. I cannot keep him. It's you that will keep him. My other kids, my other children, I don't know how to take care of them. We tried, but we lost two. But you are our keeper. And you will keep all of us. So for that is comfort to me. That understanding is enough comfort.
But when you go through this series, there are so many reasons and so many factors that are given.
Yeah, a lot.
And that is just one comfort that you mentioned, because that's what pertains to your own particular situation.
Yes.
You want to give us some more reasons why God will allow crisis like this?
Exactly. Number two is that God will allow crisis come because we are not listening to Him. We're not paying attention to Him. He's trying to talk to us. Sometimes He's screaming at us, saying, I want you to pay attention to me. Listen to me. Listen. I'm trying to talk to you. But we are so distracted with many things. We are so distracted. Our minds, our days, our jobs, our family, our business, our this and that. There's so much distraction that we can't even pay attention to Him, to hear Him. And what happens? Crisis comes. Because what would the crisis do? Crisis will make you shut your eyes to every other thing. The pain that comes with crisis will make every other thing insignificant to you. Now you are in a position where you are still. Now, nothing else matters. The business does not matter. The family does not matter. Everything begins to fade in your face. And now, you now become, and you come to that position where now you can listen to him. Now he can talk to you. Now he can tell you what he has been what he has been trying to tell you for years that you've not heard him. Why? Because you have been distracted. So what does crisis do? Crisis helps us in getting rid of distractions. Crisis helps us to to lose sight of all of those other mundane things in life, and it makes us focus on God and makes us listen to him. So that is one of the amazing things about crisis, about problems. It delivers us from the distractions of life. And it helps us.
In your own case, when you heard about the news of your brother, that's what you did, isn't it?
It drew, Pastor, it pushed me into solitude.
And how did the solitude console you?
Well, the good thing about it is that I'm going to go to another benefit. It is that I was in a state in my life where I needed to make a decision, but I couldn't make a decision. It was difficult for me to make a decision. And that decision was so necessary because it was going to either make me or mar me. But it was difficult for me to make that decision because I was like, maybe I should do it, maybe I should not do it. Maybe I should do it, I should not do it. But Pastor, when that crisis hit me, I knew exactly what to do and I did it instantly. It was not difficult for me to make that decision. And that is one of the benefits of crisis. It will give you a clarity that you've not gotten before. It will give you a clarity of mind that you've not gotten before. And it will move you to that point where decision making will not be difficult anymore. You just know that I have to do this. And you do it. And that's exactly what it did. So I went into solitude that time. And when I went into solitude, I got an understanding of what I was meant to do. And while I was going through that period, I made a decision that took me months, that I was contemplating. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? Should I not do it? Decision making became very easy for me. I could make that decision. And that's how it is with crisis too. Some decisions that we need to make, that we are procrastinating or we are postponing. When crisis hits you, when trouble hits you, you just make the change. You make the change. And that's one of the titles of your series, that change the reason for your crisis. Because sometimes we are so adamant, sometimes we are so stubborn. Sometimes we just want to be.
We want to have our own way.
We just want to have our own way. We just want to do it the way we want to do it. We want to just be stubborn, and we know what we are meant to do sometimes, but we don't want to do it. We don't. But the time crisis hits you, you just know that you have to make that change. And it will become so easy to make that change. And sometimes that change can be the change that will move you into the place that God wants you to be. And so why would God allow the crisis come? Why would he stop the crisis? No. It's not going to stop that crisis. It's not going to stop that challenge. It's going to allow it to come. Because you need to change. You need to move. So, crisis, problems. Now I can be a professor of crisis.
But some
training
people...
as a psychiatrist, also with psychology, I can help people who are going through problems. And I can help them in getting an understanding as to why some things are happening in their lives that they don't really understand. And maybe give them some hope, give them some life.
Did you get to read my book on Miles Monroe and why bad things happen to good people?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I read the book. And it definitely helped me. Because it answered another question on why good people die tragic deaths. Do you know, one of the things that my father was really challenged by was that he used to ask himself, he used to say, Dad, come. We are not the greatest sinners in this world, though. Yeah, my father said that we're not the greatest sinners in this world. I mean, even if I'm a sinner, I'm not the greatest sinner. I mean, and my dad is a pastor. My mom also is in the ministry. I mean, my mom is a lover of God. She's so, I mean, there's nobody that knows my mom and that knows my parents that will not associate them with God. These folks are sold out to God. But then why would these same people who are sold out to God, who would be referred to as good people, not one, but two
Sons.
Two sons. So, the question of why would good people go through this kind of tragic things was a question that really beguiled my parents' mind, my dad's mind. It also affected me too, because I was asking the question of why. I mean, there are people that, if we were to compare our lives, I mean, we should be the last in the line, or maybe second to the last that tragedy should happen to. Because, I mean, these people love God, they are serving God, they are doing what they can do for God, but God, how come you cannot protect? I mean, they are kids. But the comforting thing is that I learned also in this series, very profound. And one of the things I learned in this series that also brought comfort to me is that something comes with crisis that most people don't know. And that elevation comes with crisis. Progress comes with crisis. That many times promotion and crisis are closely linked. They are brothers that don't look like each other. Because crisis has a face that people don't like. But there's a brother of crisis, which is called promotion, that they go hand in hand. And that was how I saw this crisis in my life. I tell you, Pastor, since the last tragedy and the last loss of my brother, my life took a whole new leaf. A new turn came. A new promotion was handed to me. I began to understand life. It was as though I was on this level before, and after that crisis, like a boost, like a promotion. And that was the reason why, after I read the book of Dr. Miles, after I studied
about Dr. Miles,
the book about Dr. Miles, and after I went through this series, I started looking for problems. Now I'm not scared of problems. I have made problems, crises, challenges, troubles, my friend. And I discovered that life is not sweet. Life is not beautiful. I mean, your story is not sweet without crisis. I mean, crisis validates your testimony. I mean, what testimony do you want to have without going to tribulations and crises and troubles? I mean, your testimony is not sweet. I used to tell my friends, a couple of my friends, that Victor is my friend. Victor Bamishaye, my friend, my brother, my guy. But when Victor shares his story, and when I share my story, I'm like, no matter how I want to share my story, Victor's story somehow is going to be more inspirational than my story. And why would Victor's story and Victor's progress and everything be more inspirational? I'm not trying to throw myself down, but I'm just giving a life principle. That because Victor is an orphan, Victor doesn't have a dad, Victor doesn't have a mom. When he shares his story, and he just mentions the fact that he has gone through that tragedy and that crisis of not having a parent, it makes his story more interesting. It makes his story more inspirational. It makes his testimony more valid. And I'm like, if only people would know that the crisis that they are going through is to make their testimony, is to make their life more phenomenal, is to make their life more inspirational, is to make their testimony more worth listening to, they would embrace that crisis. They would embrace that problem. They would embrace that challenge. They would embrace everything that has to do with difficulties. Because life is boring without troubles. Life is, what is life? What is the beauty of life if there are no challenges? What is the beauty of life if there are no adversities? How would you build character? How would you win laurels? Where are your victories? There can't be a victory without a battle. Now, tell me who is the person who is coming to preach to me now that I should pray against challenges? When I know that challenges are my shortcuts to prominence. Now, tell me the pastor that is telling me to pray against problems and adversities. When I know that my greatness is proportional to my challenges. My greatness is proportional to my problems and my crisis. Now, what I tell problems and what I tell challenges is that come. I need you because I want my story to be phenomenal. I need you. Come. Because I have emotion. I need you because I need that greatness. Come over. Let's become partners. And let's make things happen. And that is my testimony. And that's what I feel about it.
So when somebody who is a Nigerian believer, for example, a charismatic believer, tells you that, or when they see you going through trials or challenges, and they say either you are a sinner or your family have done something wrong, and they are looking at you suspiciously, with suspicion, that, oh, this man has messed up, or this person has messed up, or this God has turned away from these people. That is what outsiders and onlookers who don't have the depth that you are having now, that's what they will be thinking about.
Yes.
Okay, but to you, whom the thing is happened to, or who has gone through something, and you are able to maximize it, you know that any tragedy or any crisis or trial always leads to a worldview shake-up, a paradigm shift.
A paradigm shift, exactly.
And without that paradigm shift, you will not see the world in a different way.
At all.
Your worldview will not be unique.
At all.
Okay, so somebody who has not had a change paradigm or a change worldview, who is just looking at the world like everything must be good because I'm good. God is protecting me because it means everything is good. How does that person who has now gone through a worldview change compare to somebody who didn't have problem and didn't have any worldview change? But unfortunately, the person without a change worldview would not even know that you are having a change worldview. He will only see that you are doing things differently, but he will not understand. We think it's because of the tragedy he has gone through. Maybe he has lost it. But they will not know that no, it's because you had left where you used to be, where that person is still in. Tell me about that kind of transformation that happens to you when your worldview changes thanks to your trials. Did you experience anything like that?
Pastor, what you just said is one of the greatest things that happens with trials. And with you being opportuned to listen to a series and a teachings like this. Why? Let me put this as a bedrock. That crises, challenges, problems, troubles, they are neutral. They are neutral. They're actually neutral. But they become positive or negative based on your worldview. And your worldview and your understanding would inform your response. And it is your response that would either make that challenge or that crisis or that adversity positive or negative. It is your worldview that would either allow that thing to make you or to mar you. So your worldview would determine the kind of influence that the challenges and the adversities that you have or that you experience, the effect that would have on you. And the change of worldview for me, was like a wow experience. Because number one is that, like I said earlier, it made me see God in a new light. That's a worldview. Why am I saying that? It is because, having a perspective and having a paradigm, an understanding that going through challenge, going through crisis means that you have sinned or that God is against you, somehow puts you in a position where you begin to lose trust and faith in God. So that paradigm and that worldview, that understanding as regards God now, would make people begin to question God and begin to say that God is not loving, God is not faithful, God is not understanding, He's a wicked God, He's allowing this bad thing to happen, and it makes people withdraw from God. But what happens with a person that comes in contact with this teaching? It changes your paradigm about God. Now you see a loving Father that just the same way a doctor who has a patient that has a gangrenous leg. By a gangrenous leg, I'm talking about, it's a medical term that describes a leg that has, how do I describe it? A disease that can spread to the whole body in a matter of time, in a short time. So the doctor sees the leg that is gangrenous, and that leg the infection can spread to the whole body and make that person even worse. But this doctor would get his device
and amputate that leg. Now, an outlooker would see the doctor and tell the doctor that, doctor, you are wicked. Doctor, why would you amputate my child's leg? Why will you amputate my friend's leg? Why would you amputate my father's leg? Why? Why? So he would not have a leg to walk again. What would he be walking on? I mean, how would he walk? How would he stand? That is their worldview. That is what they know. But the person that knows better, and the person that knows the heart of the doctor, he would understand that that is the cutting of the person's leg, the amputation of that patient's leg is a proof of his love. That there is no greater love that that doctor would show to that patient than cutting that leg. It is painful. It would mean that the person might not be able to walk again on that leg. The person might be tagged as an handicap, but the love and the knowledge of that doctor is that I would prefer that you go through the crisis of an amputated leg than dying. And that's the same thing with my loving Father. Because he knows what we do not know. He understands what we sometimes do not understand. Just the same way an outlooker would see the doctor and he does not understand what the doctor understands. He does not know what the doctor knows. And he can begin to judge the doctor, begin to say the doctor is wicked, the doctor is not loving. The same thing with my Father in heaven. That many people would see things happen and they would say, God is not good, God is wicked. Their understanding is that God should not allow these things to happen. But my loving Father, he knows what we don't know. He understands what we don't understand. And just as the doctor would amputate that leg to save the life of that man, God would allow crisis to happen in our lives. He would permit that crisis. He will permit that problem because he wants to save us. And it is out of his love. So I got a paradigm change. I understood something. I mean, it was a change of my worldview about God. That my God is loving. That this crisis might not seem good. It might not be sweet. But my God knows what I don't know. He understands what I don't understand. And most times, it is in retrospect, it is in hindsight that we look and we're like, now I understand. Now I get it. Now I see why this had to happen. Because if this did not happen, maybe I wouldn't be where I am today. If this did not happen, maybe I wouldn't have achieved what I'm achieving today in my life.
Okay, that's
So
yes, go ahead.
So the first paradigm change has to do with God. Now the second paradigm change has to do with my understanding of life. You know, having a worldview or having a mindset that you can go through life without challenges, or you can go through life without crisis. It makes you, and it makes you more, I mean, it places you on a disadvantaged position because you will be prepared for crisis. And when crisis comes, it destroys you utterly. And you're not able to bounce back. You're not able to leverage on that challenge. You're not able to maximize that crisis. You're not able to use your sorrow and make it a testimony that you can use in helping lives also. So what worldview did changed for me? The worldview that I cannot have a life without challenges. The earlier I begin to accept and embrace challenges, the better it is for me. Which is contrary to a worldview of most people that life is going to be about comfort. But I understood and I knew that comfort most times is our greatest enemy. Comfort most times is the biggest of all enemies. And a worldview and an understanding that life should be about comfort makes us disadvantaged in life. But an understanding that crises, challenges, adversities, troubles are bound to happen. They are bound to happen in life. That worldview, it just placed me, it gave me an advantage in life. It gave me that vantage point in life that now I can begin to see life from a mountain hill. I can begin to see life above challenges. I can begin to see life from a position where I know that I can leverage on it. I can maximize the challenge. I can convert my sorrow and turn it into something that I can use in revolutionizing my life and the life of others and the world at large. That's the second worldview, understanding of life. The third worldview that it changed for me is how I see people. How I see people and how I receive people. You know, it's very easy to join the bandwagon of condemners, of people who judge and people who are throwing stones when we hear of stories of people who are going through challenges. You know, it's very easy for us to tell and to look for people and tell them, oh, look at that guy, look at that man, look at that woman. You see, he's going through that challenge, that crisis, because God has caught him. He has been sinning. He's an evil person. So let him go through that crisis. Let him suffer. But no. Something that happens with crisis is that when you go through crisis, you have the heart of God. It makes you compassionate. It's just the same way that Jesus said in the book of Hebrews, that we don't have a high priest. Oh, sweet Jesus. He says, we don't have a high priest who cannot be felt and cannot be touched with the feelings of our infirmities. Because he himself, he went through all of the crises. He went through all of the challenges. He faced everything himself. So because of that fact that Jesus went through crises, went through challenges, went through problems, now he can understand. Now he has that compassion. Now he has that heart of love. He has that heart that can understand you in your crisis. He has that heart that can understand you in your challenges. Show me a man that is judgmental when people go through crisis. And I will show you a man that does not understand and that has not been through crisis. Because the moment you go through crisis, the moment you go through problems, the moment you go through challenges, you would have a heart that is compassionate for people. And the next time you see people going through trials, going through problems, going through crisis, going through troubles, you would never point an accusing fingers at them. You never feel that you are better than them. But you will understand that that is a part of life. And there is something that challenges and crises and problems brings to our lives. And instead of you being judgmental, you're going to go to that person and embrace him. You're going to get a person and embrace her and say, bro, I understand what you're going through. I know what it means to go through trials. I know what it means to go through challenges. I have been through it. I feel your pain. I know exactly what it means. And guess what? It is working together for your good. So it shifts your paradigm from a whole lot of people who would see people who are going through problems, crises, and want to be judgmental and want to be hard on them. No, you're going to love people. You're going to be empathic. You're going to show sympathy, empathy, compassion on people. And that is one of the paradigms that changed for me.
Now, what about people thinking or looking at you and pitying you? This is common when people go through situations. They will begin to, or your neighbors and everybody are coming to pity you and to, look at you with pity and with as if you are the one who is unfortunate. But in real sense, people who have been through something are the ones who are fortunate because they've been able to see the two sides of life. And they know something now that the ones who have not gone through anything don't know. And if there's anybody that is worthy of trust, it is only those who have gone through something that could be trusted. But rather, in real life, they are the ones that are condemned. They are the ones that are pitied or looked down at. But really, they are supposed to be the trusted consultants.
True.
For others.
True.
What will you say about that?
Pastor, what you just said. You said it. You said it. It's a product of, we are products of what we know. You cannot give what you don't have. There's a common saying that says, garbage in, garbage out. What you take in is what you produce. So there is a common mindset in the world that anyone who goes through challenging times, anyone who goes through crises should be pitied. And people are like, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. And I can understand from one end that maybe the people are looking at it as a loss because that's all that can be seen. Because actually it's a loss from the periphery. Just like the example of the doctor that amputates, like I said. No, the patient lost his limb. He lost his leg. That's a loss. But the funny thing is that what people just know is just the loss of a leg. But they don't know the preservation of a life. And they don't know what that patient had gone through. The life experiences that patient had gone through by just losing that leg. So this is what happened. People build a whole story, they build a whole understanding on just the periphery, on the loss. And they are unable to go deep into the core to understand that behind the loss is great gain. And this is associated with death. And that is the reason why many people could not understand Paul when Paul said, for me to die is gain. Because Paul was saying death is gain. But there is no place in the world that would associate or they will associate death as gain. Because in the whole world, death is perceived as a loss. But here is Apostle Paul saying that for him to die is gain. It is because he's able to see a bigger picture. He's able to see farther, he's able to see deeper than the periphery and than what is just on the surface that most people see. And that is the reason why many people, when they see you go through crises, when they see you go through adversities, they're more inclined to pity you because all they can see is the loss. And they think because they have not experienced any loss, they are okay. But the thing there is that the loss is like 5%. But the gain that is unseen most times is like 95%. So imagine you having a loss of 5% and getting 95% gain. But there's another person who is not going through any loss at all and no gain. And he's coming to meet you and he's saying, hey, yeah, sorry about your 5% loss. But he does not know that behind the 5% loss is a 95% gain. Because they don't know. They don't know that with crisis, with challenges, is great gain. Beyond the loss. The loss is real, and we cannot take away that loss. Because it's true, there is loss. For example, I lost my brother, I can't talk to him again, I can't see him. Or maybe an orphan, he can't see his dad, or he can't see his mom. Or a wife that lost her husband, she can't see her husband. I mean, he's gone. I mean, all they shared, everything they had together. I mean, it's a loss of which we cannot say there is no loss. But hey, that's like just a little part. And that's the reason why in this series, I learned something, Pastor. And it is that the purpose of pain and crisis is not for you to focus on it. No. Purpose, crisis, pain should be the focus. It comes as a pointer. It comes as an alarm. You said something, Pastor. You said you're likening it to an alarm clock. That we all maybe have alarm clocks. And the reason for our alarm clocks is for our alarm to wake us up, for us to do the necessary. The clock is there as an alarm system to tell you there's something you have to do. You have to wake up and get going. Now it's foolishness for you to have an alarm clock that wakes you up in the morning and you are focusing on the alarm clock. And you're just there looking at the alarm clock. And it's ringing. And it's doing and you're putting all your focus on the alarm. Nope. That is counterproductive. The idea of the alarm clock is for you to wake up and do what you have to do. That's exactly the idea of crisis. That's exactly the idea of pain. That's exactly the idea of adversities. It's an alarm system. Problem, crisis, challenges, they are all alarm systems. And it is an alarm system to help you to make the right decision. It is an alarm system to show you what to do, to direct you so you can make the necessary move and to do what you need to do. But people don't know this, and that is the reason why they'll pity you and they see you as disadvantaged. They pity you because they believe there's loss. But when you have an understanding, you know there's gain, even in the pain. There is gain in the pain.
Now, this program is a program where you review and I just listen, and assess your words, but I think I will allow myself to also act in this particular issue as a speaker, and
Yes, sir.
as a pastor, and as a leader, a spiritual leader, and as a friend of God. So I'm going to allow myself to, because I know of your situation, and I've not really said much into it. Even when your mom was here, I was only trying to comfort and support, but I've never really given my input into this particular instance of what has happened to your family when you lost two sons. So what will be my own point of view in this tragedy that hit your family? It's going to be a hard talk, what I'm going to say. But you have enough wisdom to be ready to receive. First of all, it is selfishness and egocentrism that makes us to think that we have lost anything. If we know God the way we are supposed to know God, we know we didn't lose anything. Number one, those two kids that died, what right do your parents or you have to them or on them? What ownership, license do you have to them? Only to the extent that those two kids were given to you in the first place, to your family.
Sure.
So you never really own ownership. Your parents never owned ownership to them. And the only thing that makes us to begin to have the illusion of ownership is the momentary attachment that we experience in the flesh. We people tend to hijack what doesn't belong to us. And the reason I'm saying this is that a man or a woman that loses two children thinks he has lost something, and he will turn around to blame God for not having protected those kids for him or for her. That, to the least, to put it mildly, is selfish. But to put it in a harder way is not necessary, because it will be too harsh. Many people will not understand. But the question I would like to ask such a parent that lost two children and is complaining is that what made you to think that those kids were yours? And what made you to think that you had the right to even lay a claim to those children? Just only because God decided to entrust them into your hands? Or just because God decided to let them come into the world through you? What about your neighbor, who is of the same age and status as yourself, who has been praying for the last 40 years to have one of those kids that you had two of, and has still not had the privilege of holding a kid? What makes you to think that you are better off than that person? So you lost two kids, you are complaining. What about she that never had them? So which one is better off? Number two, if we were to know God as we ought to, we would know that a man or a woman that had a kid and lost that baby at 10 or 20 is better than the one who never had one. Because you are given a chance and a privilege to taste the joy of a mother. So by the time you lose that baby, you are supposed to focus on the privilege of motherhood that you tasted, instead of concentrating on what you thought you lost. Instead of you to be thanking God for what you had, which is the chance to have a brother, to have a son, to be a mother, to be a father. Number two, when your child dies at 10 or 20 or 15, we cry and we weep. Why God? Why God? Well, the question I would like to ask is, why are you crying? Why are you not rejoicing that you had the whole 10 years or 15 years to be with that baby and to know that child? Why won't you thank God for those times you have passed together? You have been together. Why won't you begin to thank God for the privilege to have known that child and to have had that child for that period of time?
Mm.
Number three, why will you take it as a panacea and as something that is support and as something that is natural, that every child that you have or everybody that you had in your life, in your relationship, every relationship you had, either as a child and as a parent, or as a brother and a brother, or sister and brother, or any relationship you had, why should you take it as a given that was supposed to be for life? No. Every relationship has a time limitation. Some relationships, either with your child or with your husband or with your friends or whatever, could be for life. But some, maybe they are just for 10 years, for a short time, or for a shorter time, or for period. There is time for everything. So that child, he came to your life for that period of time. Why don't you appreciate? We show ingratitude when we begin to just complain about our losses. I can continue. What about you as a mother or as a father that really never had that child? Let's change your destiny now. Let's flip your destiny without your neighbor that never had a baby. What about if you have been married with your child and you never had those two children? Will you still be crying now? Because you never even had them. You never even knew that they were supposed to be in your life. Why are you not crying over that? Will you still be crying over that? Why not rejoice that you had them?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why we have the Bible. And when you look at the Bible, like the book of Job, for example, you begin to understand Job when he says, the Lord gave and the Lord took. You know what he said? Blessed be the name of the Lord. Not why did you take? When I ask why, I show myself as not knowing God enough to trust his ways.
Mm.
And not knowing God enough to thank him for the privilege he had given me to have what I had.
Mm.
Or to have had what I had. That still comes from the mindset of the fact that the paradigm shift of the world is that everything must be good. And it is only when good things happen that God is on my side. But when things that that is not in line with my paradigm or with my value system or with my worldview of my environment happens, we now begin to query as if what the belief system of my environment is what is correct. Or the value system or the worldview that I was raised up in is paramount or it is absolute, which is not. That's why we have the Bible, so that we will have the view or point of God as absolute. So when Jesus would die at 33, God is painting a message and sending us a message that way. Is that the tragedy that he lived 33 years old? He lived a perfect life at 33 years. So why should you be crying over that? No, we are thanking God that Jesus came in the first place. Is it a tragedy that Jesus never had a son? Who told you that children is a blessing? Let me now go to another area. Let's now take another neighbor of yours that have 5 children, 5 boys. You lost 2, but she has 5 that she didn't lose any. And all the 5 of them have become headache to the father and the mother. Is that what you prefer? So you like to have those kids still alive, but you never have peace one day. Because you could have a child that is bedridden for the rest of his life. And you too are bedridden, even though you are running about from hospital to hospital, selling everything you have. Let's take another one that is not bedridden, but never could make a headway in life, just headache. Telephone from telephone to telephone calls that your son has just been from there. He has just done this. He has just done this. Let me now even tell you something else. Do you know that there are also other neighbors of yours that have 7 children, and 6 of those 7 children are doing well? Only 1 is not doing well. Do you know that because of that one that is not doing well, those parents, they don't even notice, they don't even recognize, they cannot even enjoy the 6 that are doing well? And I know right now people who are saying to their children that I would rather die. I even know people who will come out and say, I want to die. I have somebody right now in this my room here that the parents are telling her, I would rather die, because that parent lost one, let's say one child is not doing well, and because that child is not doing well, all the other children who are doing well, the parent are saying, I would rather commit suicide. They cannot laugh, they cannot, just because of the headache. 1 out of 7 is causing. So who said you are worse off that you lost your children? And who even said they are your children in the first place? It is self-pity that is a man thing, that is a mortal thing. But that is looking from the earth's perspective. But when we look at God's perspective at things, and that's why we have the Bible. If we could just align ourselves with God's worldview, we will be amazed at how good God is and how privileged we are thinking that we are unfortunate. This is just a little bit of my perspective. I've been silent all these 1 or 2 years. But what will you think about this, my perspective?
Okay. First, there's going to be continuation, right?
I hope so.
No, there has to be a continuation.
Okay, we agree with my assistant so that you come back.
Yeah, there has to be a continuation on what you're saying, because I think it's
Yeah, it's like taking it a little bit deeper, and also shining more lights into talking about paradigms, right?
Yes.
So this is also another paradigm. You know,
Maybe before you comment on that, do you know that because of this understanding I just shared with you, I have agreed with my wife and with our 3 kids that they should expect my death at any time. And I've also agreed with them that I am ready for their death, for the death of all of them, even if it's going to be one day. My wife, my 3 children, I'm ready to lose them. Why? Because I must assume that even though we hope for the best, but we must be prepared for the worst. It is happening to others. And if it is happening to others, why should I think I am better than others? In those ones that it has happened to, why should I? The egocentrism and selfishness of life, want to make us to just want to say, no, because it is me. It will not happen to me. And it is me now. But what makes others worse? That it has happened to. So I've taught my family, my wife, my children, that anything can happen in life. Never say things will never happen. We believe in God, we trust God for the best, but we should be ready for the worst as well. And even if that happens, we should still learn to thank God and praise God in the midst of it, through it all.
True.
Yes. We should still praise God. I don't know if you know if you're getting what I'm trying to communicate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's soaking. It's deep, but it's soaking. I mean, it's just like a sponge that is inside the water and is soaking things up. That it is for me, and for me, it's really helping me even build my life and my future. Really.
For example, it is the same thing, not about children now, about family. If you have that school of thought of holding on to something, then you don't get it. Because that's why Jesus came for, and he said, I have brought a sword. And the sword, he said, I didn't bring peace, I brought a sword. Yes. He said the enemies of a man's house is the people of his house. And he said, if you love your father or mother more than me, your son or daughter more than me, then you don't deserve me. So he has brought a sword to create separation, detachment.
Yeah.
So if I am lamenting a detachment, and detachment could happen different ways, death is also a form of detachment. So if I'm lamenting that detachment, it means I've been attached to that thing.
Yeah. Yes.
But the only thing we are allowed to be attached to is to him.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So any detachment that will lead me to attachment to him is a blessing.
Is a blessing. Yes.
But then when we own what we are entrusted with, is a tragedy too. Children are entrusted into our hands. We don't own them. It is when we all begin to own them, then we begin to experience tragedy. Instead of treating them like an entrustment. So the detachment of death is one of the greatest blessings that will happen to a man. So that there will be attachment and greater attachment to the one that really matters.
To the source.
Okay, you remember, think about this. Let's say I lost 2 children. But I got attached to the person who gave the 2 children. So where is my loss?
No loss.
You don't get it.
I get it. No loss.
You get
No
it?
loss.
No loss.
Yeah.
Because
No
I'm
loss.
getting hooked closer, intimately, into the
Yeah.
source where all those children came from. And not just children, all the blessings too. And they went back to him. I didn't lose them. They went back to the person I got attached to. So I received my children back in another way, but including the giver of those children.
Wow.
So 3 instead of 2. Anyway, maybe we'll talk about it more one day.
Wow, I mean, this is sweet. No, the amazing thing about it is that many of the things that a couple of the things that you're saying right now are things you've said before in some of your teachings. For example, in the love series, you talked about attachments, detachments, and on a couple of these things, and that is the reason why one thing that you always say, and I also have realized, is that many times by listening to your live shows, we kind of think we got it, and we kind of think that we get it. But when I spend time with you, I have discussions with you, and I hear you say some things again. I mean, the concepts are not entirely foreign, and I've shared this with you, that one of the things that I seek to do with most of your resources is not just to know them in my head, but for those resources to become flesh in me, in such a way that, they're not just things that I've heard once and it has not become a part of me. You understand? Like some of the things that you touched on right now, some like the attachment, detachment, are things that you have touched on, but they've not become
Flesh.
They don't become flesh, and the paradigm has not yet shifted.
Yeah.
So it's there in a bank. It's there, but it has not become my reality. You know how God wants us to live from the reality of the Father from heaven, where He says that if you're from heaven, you should live from there. No, that's like you shifting paradigms where you're not seeing things again as human being sees them, as everybody sees them, but you're seeing it from God's own point of view, where you're not seeing your children as your children. They are not your children, because on the earth everybody sees them as your kids, and they are, where is your son? Where is your kid? And then everybody saying this is your child, your wife, your husband, your job, and everything is making us feel like we own things. Like this is mine, it's my child, it's my job, it's my family, my husband,
Because
my wife.
that mindset will lead you to fall into the deception. For example, some people, I'm living Ukraine. I have done a lot of things here. Let's just look at the house that I have here, and the staff and everything and the church. But if I'd had that mindset, I would not be ready to go and embrace the future, uncertain future that is waiting for me in Nigeria. Because I would think this is mine.
Yeah.
How can I live mine? It is only when you have gotten to that place what I'm talking about that you'll be able to say, no, let anybody take it. I leave the house, I leave the cars, I leave the church, I leave the members, I'm going to another place. Because my real wealth, my portion is God Himself. Not my house, not my children, not my wife, not God is my portion. All of that things are blessings.
Wow.
Well, we need to come back in 30 minutes, so I'm already running behind the time. So in 30 minutes' time, we are supposed to continue the series on Chris Oyakhilome and the God of Mammon. And so I'm sorry that we have to stop this conversation. But, maybe this week or next week, you might want to agree with Babush to continue the conversation. But, you know, you need to go and listen to the series again, this last part, and you know, make the notes. And I hope you are glad that I decided. I don't know why I decided to talk this time. Normally I would just listen, but I hope it was God directed.
Definitely. I believe so, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So, Dr. Anu, we'll see you tomorrow. God bless.
Spasiba Bamba Show.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Peace.
sir.